Let's do this together. Get woke, go broke. That's right. Disney Plus hemorrhages 4 million subscribers and is now preparing to pull content. Doesn't that feel nice? Doesn't that feel spectacular? Doesn't that just feel good? Feels right. Feels amazing. If we look at their stock after this report, absolute plummet, losing billions of dollars in market cap today alone at down $8.26, 8.17 on the 5-day. You can see it was kind of hanging in there, and then it peaked Wednesday at $103, and it's now down to 92. It's down more than $10 per share this week, or since the dip, since May 10th. And why is it down? Disney Plus sheds 4 million subscribers in second straight quarterly drop. Streaming losses narrow by 26%. Disney Plus shed another 4 million subscribers in the first 3 months of 2023, marking the streamer's second consecutive quarterly drop after closing 2022 with its first ever decline. On the bright side, the Mouse House also managed to narrow its streaming business losses by $400 million, down 26% year over year. So they only lost 40% of $1 billion. On Wednesday, Bob Iger and company beat Wall Street estimates for Disney's quarterly earnings and revenue due to an impressive January to March showing the company's theme parks. That win comes during a fiscal quarter 2, which concluded on April 1st, plagued by company-wide layoffs, a looming and now active writer's strike, and a turf war with Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. Disney ended the quarter with 157.8 million subscribers on Disney Plus, significantly missing the Wall Street estimate of 163.17 million subs. That projected figure would have been up from the 161.8 they had the prior quarter. The second sub drop was driven by a 4.6 million sequential decline at Disney Plus and Hotstar, the version of the service offered in India and parts of Southeast Asia. Last year, Disney lost streaming rights to Indian Premier League cricket matches, which prompted its lower growth for Target's Disney Plus Hotstar in India. Now, what's interesting is, let me make a prediction here. I guess some woke Peter Pan and Wendy and all that talk about She-Hulk just isn't cutting it. Add to that the general malaise that we're seeing with Marvel movies. Now, I haven't been tracking Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I've seen some positive things online, but I'm just not a run and see Marvel movies at the theater anymore type of guy. Would I watch it on Disney Plus? Yeah, I probably would. Guardians of the Galaxy, I probably would. I feel like I've missed a few Marvel movies, and long gone is like the FOMO, the fear of missing out, because, well, they ended it. Endgame ended it for me. Now everything else, it's not building to anything. They're just standalone, whatever things. Now, other movies were standalone things that you didn't necessarily know were building to anything. So they can still be successful. And I still think franchises like Guardians of the Galaxy, which, by the way, side note, Wokies want to know why Chris Pratt just keeps getting all these roles. Maybe it's because the number 1 and number 2 movies at the box office right now both star Chris Pratt. Could it be that people just like the guy? I mean, even his bad movies are hard to hate. Like Jurassic Park, you know, they're like critically panned, but it's like Chris Pratt is so likable that it's just, it doesn't even really matter. People still go to the theater to see it. Mario over $1 billion. Maybe Guardians of the Galaxy will do the same. But by and large, like, just wait. Wait till the Marvels comes out, because Disney is going to market this movie like it's never marketed any movie before. I mean, before Endgame, obviously. I really didn't see much on the Guardians of the Galaxy advertising, but that could have been localized. You know, I don't get out that much anymore now that I live out in the middle of nowhere. Plus, with my dad being in a hospital, I wasn't really paying attention. I was coming in, doing my videos, working out, then going to see my dad, then coming home, working out, going to bed. In the US and Canada, Disney lost about 300,000 subs, which it added nearly 1 million in international markets, excluding Disney Plus. Hulu gained 200,000 in the quarter to stand at 48.2 million, and ESPN Plus also increased. During Disney's earnings calls with analysts later Wednesday, Iger, who returned to his post as CEO last fall upon ousting of Bob Chapek, announced that Hulu content will be introduced on Disney Plus later this year in a one-app experience, which, by the way, would make sense. I don't know if you are like this, but I use Hulu, but I also have, I think Paramount. There's like maybe 2 or 3 other chiller, I think, that I buy through Hulu, so they appear in my Hulu experience. So if Disney Plus gets rolled into Hulu, I think that would be a win. But I don't know. I mean, the Disney Plus app isn't that great, but neither is Hulu, to be honest with you. Also, McCarthy said going forward, they intend to produce lower volumes of content in alignment with the strategic shift. The content spending cuts will hit primarily next year because so much has already been committed this year. Wall Street forecasts earnings per share at 93 cents on the 21.78 billion in revenue. According to analyst census that data provided Refinitiv, Disney reported adjusted EPS of 93 cents. So the same. Disney posted a negative free cash flow of 168 million for the quarter. Now, here's the interesting thing. I don't want to get mired in some of these boring statistics. The parks keep doing good because they just keep raising the dang prices. I don't know if any of you have been to Disney lately. I haven't, but I mean, I see these like TikToks where people are spending a fortune just to go to Disneyland for the day, and it's like, I remember distinctly my family going to Disney when I was like in 5th grade. No, I was like in 7th or 8th grade. And it was like a huge thing. We had to save up a bunch of money. My parents saved for years. And we were middle class. And even then, like it was like we weren't really eating in the park. We were eating before we got there and after we left because it was too expensive then. And that was a zillion years ago. So you have Disney hasn't quite plussed up its subscribers this year. So we talked about that. Despite the subscriber numbers, the House of Mouse overall have managed to beat Wall Street expectations because they're charging a fortune to be in their parks. Quote, we will be removing certain content from our streaming platforms and currently expect to take an impairment charge of approximately $1.5 to $1.8 billion. She went on to say this plan would be implemented as soon as the third quarter, and the streamer would produce lower volumes of content, a move ripped right from the playbook of David Zaslav over at Warner Media, home to HBO Max, soon to just be Max. No word yet on what content exactly will be pulled from Disney Plus and whether or not it will be put into some sort of vault. Well, let's speculate. What's weird is if you already have the content, how much are you really saving at that level by pulling it? Yeah, there's bandwidth charges and licensing fees. So maybe they have some content that they're paying big licensing fees on that people aren't paying to watch. It's tough to know. I think where the big savings will be is peeling back production. I haven't seen a lot. They keep pumping out endless Star Wars shows that no one cares about. The 3rd season of Mandalorian, I believe, has had the lowest viewership yet. I could be wrong about that, but I thought I saw an article about that. Nobody's talking about the Mandalorian anymore. And it's bigger than just Gina Carano, right? So when they got rid of Gina Carano, I was out on the Mandalorian. But people were still talking about it. That season finale with Luke coming back, all this kind of thing. There was a lot of jibber jabber about that, okay? But going into season 3, I just don't hear anybody talking about it. It's like I don't hear anybody talking about The Witcher anymore. Even though this season still has Henry Cavill. It's like all the buzz is gone from The Mandalorian, and hardly anybody cares about the other shows that they have. You may like them. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying they don't have any buzz. They're not bringing in new subscribers. And with no real announcement on any new Star Wars movies, what is on Disney Plus that matters? Parents don't want to have their kids be watching Disney Plus. Parents don't want their kids getting indoctrinated if they step out of the room. Parents already aren't taking their kids to see Disney movies. They're not going to plop them down in front of Disney Plus because they can't trust it anymore. So this is an absolute win for people fighting back against woke culture. I'm happy to report on it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do make sure you leave a like on it, and and subscribe down below, and we'll talk to you again real soon.